Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts channel. In today's video, I have some news about Game Informer interviewing Tetsuya Nomura. They were discussing about Kingdom Hearts 4, the series thoughts itself, and of course, Final Fantasy implementations and many more. So, we're going to get into the questionings just a little bit. We're going to get to the questionings instead of reading this whole information thing. But if you want to read this info, the link will be underneath the description down below. This is something very important. So this is a question from Game Informer itself. They stated, the series recently celebrated 20 years. How does it feel to look back on the last 2 decades, and what do you hope Kingdom Hearts' legacy will be? And Nomura says, I feel like 20 years is a very long time, except it also doesn't really feel that way. I have vague or vogue or whatever you want to pronounce it, vague memories of visiting the Disney offices in the U.S. and having meetings throughout the long history that we had. But when it comes to memories of the development and just making the actual game, it's just kind of fuzzy. It doesn't feel like anything has become a memory because the series is still continuing and it's all still in real time. The series is always evolving. The stories are still going on regarding the legacy. I suppose the heart is a central theme to the story of Kingdom Hearts. We will continue to depict that and tell the story of the heart in different ways. Okay, so I don't remember if I read these questions before in the last video. So right now, here's the next one. The series is known for its cliffhanger finales. How did you approach keeping these satisfying but still ensuring fans felt like they had some answers? And Nomura says, with every title, we just try to create a game that is contained within itself. There's an actual ending in a sense to each game, which is probably something similar to any game that is made. But since the Kingdom Hearts storyline has so many mysteries and the story is ongoing, there are just so many different things that we can get into. Fans say every time they think they figure something out, there's now a new mystery that they need to figure out. I suppose it's a combination of just trying to make sure that the game is contained within itself and comes to a clear stop. But then also, it's just trying to prepare a new mystery so that fans are aware of what will be important in the next title or the next part of the story that's coming up. Personally, I feel like this approach is not really anything special. It's something that all game developers might be considering when they make their games. Okay, this next question is, what has been your favorite cliffhanger to see fans' reaction to? Nomura says, the first thing that comes to mind is the ending for the original Kingdom Hearts, which I'm assuming he's referring to the first one. I feel like that was maybe really unexpected on the player's part because people playing that first game probably didn't think that the story would continue beyond that. Also in Kingdom Hearts 3, when Lucio takes off their hood at the very end, I really enjoyed seeing the fans' reactions, just because it was something that I really hoped for. Well, apparently, if you don't know the ending, um, let's just say Lucio is technically one of the organization members. And if you haven't seen it, then I suggest you play this game. Um, but you have to play all the games before getting to the main situation here, the main reason of the reveal of Lucio. It's very hard to explain in detail, but let's just say this. I was not expecting this person to be Lucio. Regardless of that, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the next question. Did you expect characters from games like Birth by Sleep and Kingdom Hearts 358 over 2 days to become so popular? Do you feel like their stories are complete, or we can expect more of these characters to pop up in Kingdom Hearts 4? And Nomura says, I really didn't think that the characters from these two titles would become this popular. I have thought that players wanted to see more of characters like Sora or Riku. It was kind of unexpected that the characters from these two titles, were so well received. As far as including them or continuing their story in KH4 or Kingdom Hearts 4, the story for Kingdom Hearts 4 is focused more on Sora's disappearance, which is what you have to remember, Sora's disappearance. If you haven't played the game, then I suggest you play it. But for those of you who have, you already know what happened. Alright, so let's continue on. I'm not quite sure if there will be room to really explore the other characters' stories as much, but I'm aware and the team is aware that these characters are very popular and people want to see more of them. So if possible, it would be great to include more of them or continue to share more of their stories in future opportunities. So there is a possibility that they may appear in a different, well, not different game, but another Kingdom Hearts game, which is very uncertain right now. But as you can tell, according to what he says here, Nomura and other uh, of his team is aware that these characters like a Roxas, a Aqua, and many others from the other games like Birth by Sleep and 358 over 2 days are very popular. And right now, KH4 is focusing mainly on Sora. And he's not sure if there's any room for anyone else besides him. It's focusing on the disappearance of our main character, Sora. But one thing is for certain is that they are aware that these characters from 358 over 2 days are popular, and so is Birth by Sleep. So if it's possible, they will include them or continue to share more of their stories in a future opportunities, which could be in another game besides KH4. Who knows? But here's the next question. Another era, not era, another era where we saw Kingdom Hearts popularity surge was seeing Sora in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Can you talk about your feelings on having Sora involved? Obviously, I was very happy, rightfully so, that we were about to have Sora make an appearance in Smash Bros. Ultimate. Most of the feedback when Sora was announced for Smash Bros. Ultimate, Ultima, Ultimate was, I can't believe Disney okayed for him to be in this game. behind the scenes, I was actually the one being very picky about his appearance in Smash Bros. Disney was the one that was like, go ahead. This is a great opportunity. I thought it would be tough to pull off because it might clash with the established lore in Kingdom Hearts and the Disney worlds. So it was an opportunity I had to consider very carefully. After seeing how happy everyone was in welcoming Sora in Smash Bros., I feel like the end result was really great. So obviously Nomura is very happy that Sora is in Super Smash Bros. And I'm happy too. The only downside is that um I don't have a Nintendo Switch. That's the main issue. Because it costs a lot of money. But that's besides the point. Let's move on to the next question. And this question is the villain. It has something to do with the villain itself. Xehanort is such a memorable villain, and now we're going into the Lost Master arc. How do you follow that up and create fresh conflict with new adversaries? And this is what he says. As you mentioned, Xehanort is a really memorable character. Let me rephrase that. As you mentioned, Xehanort is a really memorable character. My apologies. We did take a lot of time to fresh out this enemy presents throughout the series. It all started in the original Kingdom Hearts, where there's Ansem, and Kingdom Hearts 2 with Xemnas. Basically, these two figures that stem from one person. In the first game, we explored just the heart portion. In the second game, we explored the physical body. It all led up to the full physical embodiment of the character. I really like that we took this slow burn approach to build up the character. I feel the presence of the enemy character is so important for them to be a really good character. It gives the story a lot of depth and destiny, or Density. Oh my goodness, I can't even pronounce this word. I feel like we pull that off. And now we're moving on to the next saga. In the trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4, we mentioned the Lost Master arc. We're going to be delving into a new enemy figure for the continuation of the story. This new enemy has a lot to do with the masked characters that appear at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3. There are going to be obstacles that stands in front of Sora. Also, in Kingdom Hearts 2.8, we showed that we show what kind of characters they are. So the enemies have already appeared within the series. We will be reintroducing them, and obviously there will be more new characters as well. But we really can't go into detail on those characters just yet. I wonder who these new characters will be. Does it have any relations to Union Cross or Dark Road, or is these new characters technically the replacements of the Seven Crowns? Because there is a video where HMK says something about the Seven Crowns or something. Well, it's no guarantees right now because they're not going to give us any more details about those new characters. All we do know is that we've seen Strelitzia, we've seen other characters that is going to appear in KH4. Alright, so this is going to be probably a long video, so let's try to wrap this up as much as we can. So next up, do you feel it's important to keep Sora as the main protagonist, or do you ever see the series moving beyond him? As far as spin-offs go, we've had main characters that were not Sora. But in terms of the mainline series, I think Sora is actually the only candidate for the main character. I think if Sora is no longer the main character, then I would also feel like that would indicate the end to the numbered titles. He's that important to the series. So you're saying that Sora is the main character because of the numbered titles, like for example KH1, 2, 3, and now 4. For me, something isn't adding up, but I'll go along with it because he does make spin-off appearances like Chain of Memories and Recoded, even though it's not actually Sora, it's Data Sora, and of course Dream Drop Distance when he's in the dream world. Okay, next up, we saw Donald and Goofy in the Kingdom Hearts 4 reveal, but one question a lot of fans have is how much will Disney still be integral? I can't pronounce this word. I think I have read this before, but I'm trying to see if there's any new questions. But let's just say there will be Disney worlds in Kingdom Hearts 4. Maybe there could be like a Star Wars one since they're going to a realistic approach. Maybe they'll return to other Disney worlds or newer ones like the one for The Incredibles. That could be almost like a realistic situation because we have superheroes and all that stuff. Who knows? Anyways, here's the next question. When did you start working on ideas and planning for Kingdom Hearts 4? And what things do you know you wanted to incorporate early on? And this has something to do with like the command systems. The challenge is within the action gameplay and all that kind of stuff. And the next question is like, will we be spending a lot of time in Quadratum? Does having a more realistic setting give you bigger opportunities to try new things with the gameplay? And he said that I think it will be a pretty good amount of time since it is set as initial base within the game. I can't pronounce that word. You spend time there and then go to different worlds and then go back there because the graphics are more realistic this time around. I feel like there's more of a realistic daily life aspect to Sora's life. You can see him go in and out of his room and spend time there. I feel like players will get to see more of the day-to-day routines he goes through. As far as worlds go, in the past, we feature a lot of Disney worlds, and among those, the most realistic one was probably Pirates of the Caribbean. This time around, we're spending some time in the actual real world. This was a challenge we had for ourselves, just to see how realistic can we make this. And that's something that we're working on right now. For now, we can't really dive into any further details than that. Okay. Now, here's the question I think this is the new question, but I can't remember if I read this. So it says fans have been very concerned about the lack of Final Fantasy characters in newer entries. Do you still want to drill down on the amount of them in the series? Or is Kingdom Hearts 4 a chance to bring in more cameos? And he responds, I understand there weren't that many Final Fantasy characters in Kingdom Hearts 3. One thing I want to clear up is that a lot of fans are saying that Kingdom Hearts is this collaboration between Disney characters and Final Fantasy characters. But I really feel like that's not the basic concept of Kingdom Hearts. That's not exactly what Kingdom Hearts is. When we released the first title, we have only a few original Kingdom Hearts characters. When they were interacting with really well-known, beloved Disney characters, I felt nobody really knew these new characters. So it was harder for them to stand their ground just yet. And so, we had a lot of Final Fantasy characters involved to lend a hand for everyone to get to know these original Kingdom Hearts characters better. But wait, there's more. Now there are so many original characters from Kingdom Hearts that are so well loved and people want to see more of those characters. With Kingdom Hearts 3, since we did have so many original Kingdom Hearts characters, it was hard to find room for including more Final Fantasy characters. We're trying to find a good balance for that. I know that some fans were concerned about that and weren't too happy and wanted to see more Final Fantasy characters. That's something we definitely are thinking about. But just with the sheer number of original characters that we have now, it's hard to say what the exact balance is going to be and how it will play out in Kingdom Hearts 4. We can't really give you a firm reply on this just yet. So it is determined on the balance of which Kingdom Hearts original characters are going to be in. And also if they're planning to put a lot of Final Fantasy characters in this game. So that's the major issue of what's going on with KH3. The reason is that there's a lack of Final Fantasy characters. Even though there's more to it according to most people, but despite all this, it's the fact that we realize that Nomura has to figure out how to balance it to be able to put Final Fantasy characters because it is a collaboration between Disney and Final Fantasy. But it's definitely harder as it seems because the amount of certain characters that needs to be put in is it's just the fact that they have so many original Kingdom Hearts characters that it's very difficult to put Final Fantasy characters in this game, the third game. So it's uncertain whether or not if there's going to be Final Fantasy characters in KH4. But I think it's certain that it all depends on the sheer balance and how this is going to work out. But anyway, here's the last question. Hold on. I think I have... Hold on. I'm trying to figure out if I have read certain stuff before, but could not remember exactly. Well, I'll let you guys and girls read it for yourselves. The link will be on the description down below. But here's the last question. Do you want to give one final tease for fans about what they can look forward to? With regards to Kingdom Hearts 4, unfortunately, there's not any new information that I'm going to be able to share for a while. But if people could really dive into this interview that we had today, I did reveal a little bit of new information and more details during this conversation. So it will be great if people could consider that and find some new information that way. Okay, that's very interesting. And he also mentioned about Missing Link. I also wanted to mention Kingdom Hearts Missing Link. We're working towards launching the closed beta within the year. I know that not everybody is really into smartphone games, so some fans might not be really excited for it. But we are making it so that it's something that anyone can jump right into compared to our past mobile games releases. It's a lot closer to the closer to the series, excuse me, and also connected in many ways to Kingdom Hearts 4. I can't wait to play that beta, but I just don't know when. That's the issue. The easiest way to get more new information and hints about Kingdom Hearts 4 would be first to play Missing Link. Okay? There will also be some more mysteries, not related to Kingdom Hearts 4 specifically, but just throughout the series in it. Also, some figures that appear in the Missing Link are tied to Kingdom Hearts 4. That's all I can really say now. It's really, really interesting. We haven't heard too much about the mobile game at this time. And I hope we could get more information about Missing Link. All we know is that this is a game that, let me see, hold on. According to this, is that this game will have some ties, are tied to Kingdom Hearts 4 and connected many ways of the fourth game, the fourth number of the series, and many others that I cannot explain it. But if you want to read this article for yourself, the link will be underneath the description down below. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's video. I gotta go ahead and have a little bit of a walk. So make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the Kingdom Hearts channel. And make sure you turn on these post notifications so you won't miss a single upload. And I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, make sure you stay safe and have a wonderful day.